Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming my March wrap-up video. It is a lot smaller than February's, thank God, because I don't think I can go through that many reviews again. That killed me. I read a total of 7 books this month, so it's a nice chilled reading month for me, which is good because next month I have a lot to read. The first book that I got my teeth stuck into this month is, it's either called Wilder Girls or Wilder Girls, I'm not sure, by Rory Power. I have no words for this book. I gave it a 4-star. And I'm not saying I regret my 4-star, but I haven't stopped thinking about this book. And when I mean that, I mean I read it at the beginning of the month and I've had to stop myself rereading it so many times already because I'm engrossed. I gave it a 4-star because all the way through I feel like I rushed it, but mainly because I wanted to know more. And the ending just didn't do it for me. And then when I thought back to it, I was like, this wasn't explained, there was this seemed like an inconsistency. But the more I sit and think about it, I think about how I felt reading this and how it was so different to anything I've ever read before. The execution was great, and the way it's drawn me back into wanting to read it again. And it hasn't even been a month and I already really want to reread this. I'm sticking with my 4-star for this read. However, I do think I will be rereading this before the year is out, and I think if I read it again and slower, it will change to a 5-star. This book is about a boarding school full of girls on an island where this disease or infection has taken over the island. It has killed off all of the men and all of the women. It has mutated the bodies of all of the women, and it's essentially this infection that it makes their body better. So it wants to improve their bodies to be better at survival, but it's killing them because their bodies can't handle this. You know, they're human, they're not meant for these things. So some girls get gills in the neck, other people get like crocodile spines down their back. One girl gets a metal hand. The main girl gets her eye glued shut, and her eyes glued shut. I'm not sure how that is helping her body, but I don't know. That's why I think I've read a few things. I need to go back through and reread this. It's such a complex but beautiful story. It was a really, really great book. It not like any thriller I've ever read before, and definitely has a lot of body horror in it. It's just not as gross as I thought it was going to be. People made this out to be a really disgusting story, and I cannot cope with things like that. It really does play with me. But I'd say the first half of the story is where the worst of it is coming in, and it's not that bad. And you think, oh God, it's going to be coming up. It's going to be really gross. It's going to come up. It doesn't, it's not that bad. Obviously, if you are squeamish, tread with caution. I did, but it was okay for me. Just use your own common sense, you know? The next book that I read was The Perfect Girlfriend by Karen Hamilton. This was a really, really nice thriller to read. It was a nice thriller about a stalker girlfriend. I really enjoyed the ending. I like the way this ended. I didn't expect it to happen, but I enjoy how it happened. I did give this a 3-star, which is a good rating for me, especially for a thriller. You know, that's not knocking the book at all. I did enjoy it. I really did like it. It just wasn't a great thriller to make it a 4-star, or the best thriller I've ever read, which is like a 5-star, you know. This is about a woman named Juliet who has broken up with her boyfriend Nate, and she's a stalker. She tries to obsess. She tries to really make sure that she's inserted in his life. She has this plan that she is going to execute in order to get him back. And yeah, I don't want to give much away. The first chapter I was instantly like, oh my goodness, because you're led into this story and then suddenly, ooh, and I was like, oh, she really is a crazy bitch. I didn't expect it to take her so crazy, but they did, and it worked well, and I really, really enjoyed her character, and you rooted for her even though she was crazy and definitely in the wrong. You still rooted for her. And the things that come out during the book really do handle some serious issues, and serious issues in a way a thriller does handle these issues. This book does scare you into wondering who you're friends with and who you're dating, because it is pretty scary. But I did really enjoy it. A 3 star is good for it. So if you're wanting to read it, don't let my review put you off. A 3 star is a good score. I really did enjoy it, and I would recommend anyone who sees this pick it up and give it a go. Next we have With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. I really liked this book. I thought it was a really lovely book. I've already given it a review in my 5-star results and predictions video, which should either be out by now, and if it is, I'll link it there. I don't know which way it is. If it's not, that'll be incoming, so I'm not going to give a full-on review. But this book is about a teenage mother, Emoni, that's her name, isn't it? Emoni, who wants to be a chef, and she's struggling to go through school as a single mother. Obviously, I'm not a single mother, I'm not a teenage mum, I've never had to handle these issues, and it was really interesting to see her day-to-day life and how difficult that is. And if that is what it's like for a single or teenage mother, then my heart goes out to them all, because this is really hard-hitting in that sense, but it's also a really nice, soft, happy book for the most part. She has her struggles, but it's like an everyday life book. It's just like you're following somebody's life, which is why I gave this a 4-star, not a 5-star, just because I didn't think there was quite enough drama. Next we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This book, oh, it was so nice. This book is about a girl named Pippa who was doing a project for school based on a murder that happened 5 years previous. Everybody knows that the boyfriend Sal did it, and he killed Andy. And that's it, that's the story, there's no question about it. However, Pippa goes and does her extended project and tries to prove to people that perhaps Sal was not the killer and there was somebody else involved. I don't know if I said, but I gave this book a 5-star. This was incredible. There'll be a full review in the 5-star results, predictions and results. Just check that out if you want to see my full review. The next book that I read was A Window Breaks by Chris Ewan. I always struggle. Oh my god, this is scary. Okay, this is scary. I'm probably just a wuss, alright, and I can cope with thrillers. And I knew this would make me poop my pants, because it's about a home invasion. Who's not terrified of a home invasion? But I didn't need to be that scared. No, that was so scary. I was reading it at night because it's in my 24-hour readathon video. That's when I read it. And I had to put Bob's Burgers on in the background because it was so scary. It doesn't take place where I thought it would take place. And I think if it did, and if it was executed well still, I would have given it a 5-star. This was a 3-star read, which, reminder, that is a very good rating for a thriller for me. It did make me poop my pants. It did exactly what it said it would. This is about a family who experience a mugging, and they're all a little bit scared, and they decide to take a trip to their friend's cabin. It's like a luxury cabin, not a small cabin. It's got like a theatre and pool, and they decide to go stay there in the middle of a woods. It's a gated woods, to kind of relax, feel less scared because they've just been mugged. And obviously it's about a home invasion. It's not really a spoiler, that's what the book is about. So obviously there is a home invasion, and yeah, it's malicious, it's scary. I would like to have seen a little bit more combat action, less sneaking around. But I think that's what got your heart racing, was the fact that you felt like you were on this journey with them. You felt like you were really on the run as well and doing everything they did. I could picture the setting really well, so it was described great. The ending, very confusing, very far-fetched, don't quite understand, but that's me with every thriller apparently. I just don't understand the ending, so that's great. I read The Cat and the City by Nick Bradley. This was an ARC, so I don't think it's out yet. It's a beautiful story about a cat in Japan, and it's a bunch of short stories that are told through the cat looking at these stories. So it just gives you a bunch of short stories of snippets of people's lives, and you notice the same names are mentioned. So they obviously know each other through the short stories. They've mentioned each other's names, they know each other, which is really, really nice. So it just felt like a very staggered story, but it was also kind of fluid. I gave this a 3-star. I think it should be a 4-star. Once again, if I reread this, I think it would be a 4-star, and I probably will reread it. It's very hard for me to read a book on digital, and it was on my Kindle. I don't like reading on my Kindle or my phone. I just like reading a book, so you have got to be a bit... I am letting leeway for the fact that I might have not enjoyed it as much because it was digital. But yeah, I felt like it was kind of jumpy and confusing, which is why I think if I read this a second time, it would be a 4-star. I don't think it's a bad story or badly written. I think because of what type of story it is, with a bunch of short stories being collected together, it's bound to be a little bit confusing. And my 3-star review, once again, is a good review. Gotta keep saying it. I think when the book officially releases, I'm gonna buy a proper copy and give it a reread so that I have a fair review, because I think it's definitely lacking. I think it's a 4-star book that I just can't quite identify that yet. Then we have My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. Now, unpopular opinion, because a lot of people seem to love this. This was one of the worst books I've ever read. Don't come for me. I gave it a 1-star. People are already ranting in the comments. If I don't like a book you love, that's okay. Tell me why you love it, but please don't shout at me, right? It's just, please. This was confusing. Not good. Boring. This was boring. I was bored the entire time. When I started listening to the audiobook, it was a little bit better. The narrator is great. I really love her. She's really good at getting like different personalities across. Like when the sister comes on, she really does get this sassy, bitchy tone, and that works really, really well. But the story was so boring. In the end, I didn't care if she murdered anyone. I just was like, oh my god, don't care. Over it. Stop talking to me. And that is crazy for such a short book. It took me like 2 weeks to finish. It's 226 pages. Why did it take me 2 weeks to finish this? I just can't cope. I didn't care. I really didn't care, and I'm really sorry if you loved it. I might just be missing something, but no. I'm glad that's a library copy, because I would be really upset if I spent my money on that. The final book that I finished was The Other People by C.J. Tudor, another book from my 5-star prediction and results, so go over there for a full review. This is about a father who is missing his daughter Isabel, and he sees her in the back of the car and then goes home and finds out she's been murdered, and he's confused because that's not possible because he just saw her getting abducted, but they say she's been murdered, and he's like, it's not possible, I've just seen her. No one believes him. He spends the next, I don't know how many years, I can't remember, travelling up and down the road that he saw her on, searching for her. We get a lot of perspectives in this book, to which I usually don't like. I struggle to follow a lot of perspectives. I tend to favour one over the other, which I did in this book. So that was kind of like I don't know if I'm going to like this, but the way every character worked to fit into the story of the rest of the characters was seamless. That is impressive to execute that in such an amazing and flawless way. So I didn't mind it in the end. This was a 5-star. C.J. Tudor is very quickly become one of my favourites, and I've only read one book. Can you say if that she's one of your favourite authors if you've only read one book? I don't know. But I think I can. You wouldn't expect the ending that you get. Not that it's like, I half guessed the ending, so like, you know, it is predictable, but there's like some things that you think, oh crikey, didn't expect that, and then once the ending happens, it goes on. Like it doesn't just, you know, when the ending happens and it just cuts and like, okay, there's the rest of my life is going on. It does do a little bit of extra work answering those questions that were left unfinished, and you think to yourself, oh yeah, I didn't think about the fact that that wasn't answered, and then she gives you the answer and you're like, fabulous, thank you, really appreciate that. So it's nice to see something that was so well finished and to high quality standard. You are still left with questions, and that to some extent annoyed me, but it added to the emotion of the book. So even though it annoyed me, it was great. It was a really great thing because it left you feeling raw the same way the character in the book would have had questions and wouldn't have known everything that had happened, and that's okay. As I said, that was the last book I finished. However, I am currently reading The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I haven't finished this. I am only 129 pages in, but I wanted to mention that I was reading it in case I finish it before the end of the month. I will put it in my April wrap up either way, so you'll still see my review on it. But I thought, for full disclosure, I would mention that this might be finished this month. I just haven't finished it yet and can't give you my opinion. 128 pages in, so things are very likely to change. I've been listening to the audiobook, which I love, by the way. I'm enjoying it so far. However, it's made me feel sick. The bullying from Carden, obviously the Cruel Prince, that's him, Carden. The cruel, I know it's the Cruel Prince, but God, is he cruel. And it makes me sick to my stomach reading what they do to her. No spoilers, but the bit where she eats the apple and that she's under their control, that's not a spoiler or anything, it's just a tiny little scene. But that makes me feel sick to my stomach that happened. Like the whole book, the bullying is just really raw. It's really, really raw. It's not filtered, and it's making me very uneasy. I don't cope with that very well. But so far, I'm really, really enjoying this. I didn't think I'd enjoy it because recently fantasy has been a no-go for me. I just haven't liked it. I've not wanted to read it, but I thought to myself, let's just get on this and try our absolute best. And I'm glad I did, because I am enjoying it and I'm taking my time with it, which I don't usually do with books. But I thought, I really want to get into this series and I want to know everything about it, so slowly getting there, really slowly getting there, but I'm really, really loving it. So I thought I'd let you know about my update on that, even though I haven't finished it yet. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you're all staying safe during this really scary time. I hope you're all doing well. I'm staying inside and you should all stay inside too. I hope you all enjoyed this video and you're having a great afternoon, evening, morning, night, I don't care, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.